How's it going today, guys? So, in today's episode, I want to delve deeper into diphtheria and the various epidemics with diphtheria that the pioneer farmers of eastern Washington had to deal with in the late 1800s and early 1900s. Due to a story that I posted previously about the Salem Cemetery and the family that lost 3 children in 1 year to diphtheria, it got me thinking about it more, and I've got a little presentation for you guys today. Diphtheria is a highly infectious and potentially deadly bacterial disease, particularly devastating to children before the advent of widespread vaccination. Caused by a bacterium, it primarily attacks the mucous membranes of the throat and nose, but can release a powerful toxin into the bloodstream, also affecting vital organs. Here is a deeply detailed description of how diphtheria affects a child and how it can kill multiple people in a family or a community. The initial onset, days 1 and 2, the beginning. The disease often begins like a common cold. A child, seemingly just a bit under the weather, might complain of a sore throat and begin to run a mild fever of about 101 degrees Fahrenheit or so. The nose may run slightly, and the child might appear tired and irritable. There could be a swelling of the glands in the neck, but nothing that would immediately alarm a parent or physician in a time of modern diagnostics. Within a day or two, however, the situation begins to change ominously. The progression, days 3 through 5. As the bacterium multiplies, it begins producing its deadly toxin. In the throat and tonsils, the tissue responds with inflammation. A thick, grayish-white film begins to form. This is not mucus. It's composed of dead cells, clotting protein, bacteria, and immune material. It's sticky, adherent, and terrifyingly resilient. This membrane can cover the tonsils, the roof of the mouth, and the upper airway. Breathing becomes labored. The child begins to cough, a dry, barking cough, then gasps for air. The voice grows hoarse and strained. Swallowing becomes either very painful or downright impossible. The child's neck swells dramatically, sometimes grotesquely, in a condition called bull neck, a telltale sign of severe diphtheria. It is caused by swollen lymph nodes and edema from toxin-induced inflammation. Systemic toxin spread, the silent catastrophe. The diphtheria toxin doesn't stay localized. Once in the bloodstream, it attacks the heart, the nervous system, and the kidneys. Cardiac effects. Within days, the toxin can inflame the heart muscle, leading to an irregular heartbeat or outright heart failure. The child may become pale, lips tinged with blue, and pulse weak or erratic. Sudden collapse from cardiac arrest is common in the second week of this illness. Paralysis may begin with a slurred voice or progress to drooping eyelids, difficulty swallowing, and eventually respiratory paralysis. Once the diaphragm and chest wall muscles are paralyzed, death can occur within hours. Renal failure from toxin damage is another potential complication, though usually secondary to cardiac and respiratory failure. Agony and death, days 5 through 10. suffocation, or collapse. If untreated, diphtheria kills up to 50% of severely infected children. Death is often one of the most harrowing aspects for families and caregivers. The child, conscious and aware, gasping, terrified, with wide, pleading eyes, struggling against the creeping suffocation. In some cases, the pseudomembrane detaches and causes sudden airway blockage, leading to choking death in minutes. Others die more slowly, over days, of heart failure or respiratory muscle paralysis, drifting into a coma. Diphtheria is spread through respiratory droplets, coughing, sneezing, or even shared utensils. In close quarters, especially among families or in schools, it rips through communities like fire. The incubation period is 2 to 5 days, and sometimes up to 10. A child might be playing one day and gasping the next. When multiple children or adults contract diphtheria in the same household, death often comes in a cascade. A toddler might be the first, sickening rapidly and dying within days. A sibling begins to show signs 2 days later. The mother, having nursed them, begins to cough by the week's end. An older grandparent or weaker adult may succumb just as the family is burying their children. The most chilling effect is the utter helplessness. In a pre-modern setting, say a rural homestead in the 1880s, there is no hospital nearby, no antibiotics. Isolation and quarantine may be attempted, but it is often too late. Whole families can be decimated. In small towns, diphtheria outbreaks could kill dozens or hundreds in a matter of weeks. Historical testimony. Survivors describe the horror vividly. You could hear them gasping from the hallway, like fish pulled out of water, lips blue, chest heaving, and then the silence would come. The smell of diphtheria, something like rot and metal, hung in a sick room. We laid my sister out on Tuesday. By Friday, we were digging again. In conclusion, diphtheria is not just a disease. It is a suffocating killer that moves with stealth and cruelty, especially in children. It disfigures the throat, poisons the heart, and paralyzes the lungs. Before vaccines, it was a dread specter in every household. Its arrival often meant mourning would follow.